Hey guys, this week's video is called Battling the Elements. Now, this is something that becomes more important as you get to a higher and higher level in sport. Why I say that is the higher your level in sport, typically the closer that your matches are going to be in any sport. So little things can make the biggest difference when competition is so close and so tight, right? Now, what I mean by battling the elements, so this is a theory from more old-time warfare. So, for example, if you got to battle and there were very high winds, you probably wouldn't rely too much on your archers, for example. Or if you showed up to the battle and there were like marshes or really flooded and muddy plains, you probably wouldn't go marching your heavy military or heavy troops through there, right? These are things that you might not know until you get there on the day, right? You can have, say, predictions for elements of the weather and stuff that will affect the fight, but these are things that you're going to have to adapt to on the day, right? So maybe you can't time the weather, the rain, the mud, the wind, whatever it be, and these are things that are going to change your strategy and you're going to have to overcome in order to win. So in this case, it's not just defeating the opponent, but it's also battling the elements of nature is probably the best way to explain it. Now, how that relates to, for example, sports, high-level sport, is understanding that the ref and the judges are things you can't factor in until you get to the fight, but they will absolutely affect the outcome of the fight, sometimes in a terribly big way, unfortunately. So I'll give you an example. I fought a fight last year, for example, and I've got a really good left body uppercut, right? Left body shot. It's one of my favorite shots. It's something I'm really good at setting up, and when I know I'm hitting it, I know I'm going to be doing a lot of damage to my opponent. So if I feel like I can get that left body shot on, I feel confident. So first round starts, we move around, I set him up and I hit him with that left body shot. Referee goes, punches up blue to me because I was in the blue corner. And I was like, okay, I thought that was weird. I hit him perfectly with it. So I throw it again. And he goes, punches up blue, and I'm thinking, what the fuck? This is really clear. It's way above his waistband. I'm not sure what he's on about, but I'm starting to get nervous about it now. So when I throw it the third time, I throw it almost like under his armpit. It's so high, it hits him in the top of the ribs. Not really where I like to hit that shot, but I'm just doing it to be safe. And he turns to me and goes, shots up blue, or I'm going to take a point if you do that one more time. And I was like, all right, I don't know what the fuck is going on here, but I suddenly realized that no matter how good that shot is, no matter how well it's hitting, I've got to stop throwing that shot, because no matter how well I throw it, the ref's going to call me on it and I can't lose a point. So I can deal with this in one or two ways, right? And luckily experience helps me here. But I can sit there and say, oh, well, you know, the body shot's clean and I've got to keep throwing it, and that's bullshit, the ref's not seeing it, and then when I get a point deducted, I lose the fight by 1 point. I go, oh, the ref was a dickhead. Or I can just stop and think, okay, left body shot, that's out of the game now. That's it, tough shit. I've got to move to something else. So maybe it's a left jab to the body now. Maybe it's a fake left to the body, left uppercut to the head or something like that. But whatever it be, it was something I couldn't have expected going into the fight, and something I had to immediately adjust to and adapt to, right? If you don't know how to box around the referee, then they're going to be a nightmare for you. So if you have like a particular move, like maybe you hold your hand out in front, maybe you grab them and spin, maybe you throw a particular body shot a certain way, and the ref's telling you he's not having it, does not matter how you feel about it. You have to scrap it immediately. There's no amount of complaining to the ref or bitching about it or telling your coach or anything like that that's going to save you in that moment. You need to be able to remove that move immediately in order to win, okay? So the next thing you got to overcome is the judges. Now, I think people like to believe that the judges are really kind of neutral. They're really fair to both fighters, but trust me, it is not the case. There are a few things that impact the judge's decision. So, for example, if you box someone who is really good or really popular, or the judges have seen him around at tournaments and comps and they think he's really good, they're more likely to watch him compete than you. They're more likely to be watching for the moves he's doing and not you. And they're more likely to favor that person than you. It's not conscious, trust me, but it's subconscious. Because if you enter as a judge and in your mind you've already like, oh, well, this blue corner's, or this guy on the left, he's going to have this fight easy. He's a great competitor. in your mind, when he does things, you're already like, oh yeah, that's really good. And when he misses stuff, you're just like, oh, okay, it's not so bad. You've already convinced yourself they're a great competitor, they're a great fighter. So you're already going to favor them subconsciously. You don't want to believe it's true, but trust me, it is. And the way they view the fight in the context of the fighter they believe should win or is gonna win absolutely affects the fight. So if you have a close fight against someone who's expected to beat you, a lot of times it can go against you. I'm not saying this is all the time, but trust me, it does affect fighting. It does affect fighting. So my kind of strategy around this problem is when I compete, I try to make it really, really clear whose point it is. Really, really clear, so it's beyond argument. That's because that's really the best thing you can do as a fighter. Where I learned this is from fencing, right? I did fencing for 11 years. Now in fencing, it's not like, say, like boxing or jiu-jitsu where you accumulate points in one setting. You actually do 1 point at a time. Now in fencing, you can't both get a point. Only you or the opponent can get the point, and the person who judges that is the referee. So you have to do everything you can to show the referee that it was absolutely your point. Now the clearest way to do that is in fencing, as you know, if you hit them, you get a colored light to say that you hit correctly. Now if you both get a colored light, then it's up to the ref to decide whose point it is. But if only you get a colored light, then only you can get the point. That's the height of combat, for you to get the only person to have that colored light, right? So in boxing, if I hit you and I get out of there and you don't hit me back, it is very, very clear who hit who and who got that point, right? If I stand there and I put myself in situations where we're both hitting each other, I'm giving it to the judge to decide who won that interaction. I hate that type of boxing. So if you want to make it really clear to everyone who's watching who's winning and who's getting the point, then you better make sure you set your attack up. Now, when you set your attack up, you better make sure that it's set up well enough that you're going to get your points on without getting hit back, and then you're going to get out of there, you're going to exit, you're going to move out, you're going to shut it down without getting hit back, all right? This is really kind of like the pinnacle of any combat sport, being able to do what you want to do uncontested, to set it up, to apply it, and to remove yourself from the situation without being hit, okay? If you're doing that in a combat sport, it's almost inarguable who's winning, right? And you have to have that mentality that you have to make it clear as day to the judges who is winning. So if you're having a close fight, I don't always suggest just getting in there and working harder. That's not going to always be the answer, right? Because it might involve more toe-to-toe engagements. It might involve more of these situations where the judge doesn't know who to give it to. What I suggest is stopping for a second and realizing, okay, let's say in a 2-minute round, a 2-minute boxing round, you've hit each other cleanly about twice each. There's about 45 seconds to go in the round. All you have to do is hit them clean twice, not get hit back, and that round's yours. Okay? That's a good kind of way to look at it. When you start the next round, I don't have to hit my opponent 400 times. I have to hit them maybe 7 to 10 times, really clean, and not get hit back. If I do that 7 times, 10 times in a round, it is no question who won that round. No question who got the points. You have to really compete intelligently like that. You have to leave no doubt as to who won. Now, I understand that involves a certain amount of technical mastery, but if you don't have that mentality and you don't approach your sparring and you're competing like that, then you're never really gonna get to a high level, because you're gonna, even if you do get to a high level, you're going to have these decisions not go your way. And you're going to get in these close matches and you're going to risk not getting the nod, even when you've done all the hard work. So it's very important when you're in there to make it very, very clear. That's why I said, like, when I get a good point, I make sure that everyone knows I got the point. I'll hit the point, I'll move out, and I won't let the person engage me immediately, because I want the judges to think, fuck, that was definitely his point. Same token, if my opponent gets a jump on me and tries to get points, I make sure to shut them down. I don't give them anything clean, and I defend and I remove myself straight away so they get nothing clean. Because every time they attack, I want the judges to think, oh, well, you know, that they weren't clean shots. I don't know if I'm going to give them the point. And every time I attack, I want the judges to see, man, that landed clean. That was flush shot. That's his point. So if you're not going to box intelligently, if you want to just get in there and have a scrap and have a fight, then you're going to flip that coin every time. You're going to put it in the judge's hands. And unfortunately, there's so many biases that affect the judges subconsciously that if you're just not the person that in their mind is going to win, or they don't like your style or something like that, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. It's going to work against you. Same thing with, in terms of, I was talking to someone about this today, competing clean and competing dirty. What I mean by that, if you're in a competition or a fight and you're competing dirty, you're pushing the guy, you're pulling his headgear, you're breaking the rules, and the referee's calling you and calling you and calling you for breaking the rules, the judges are sitting there thinking, you know what, fuck this guy. They are subconsciously they're thinking, man, this guy isn't a neat boxer, this guy's cheating, this guy's breaking the rules. They're not looking towards you to give you the rounds. They're not looking towards you to give you the fights. If you're boxing clean, boxing neat, obeying the rules, being polite, doing what you got to do in there, they're more likely to favor you anyway. So, because there is so many ways that the ref and the judge impact your fight as these kind of like elements of nature I was discussing that you can't predict, you have to learn how to control them. Like I said, if you show up to the battlefield and the winds are terribly, terribly high, maybe don't pull out your bows and arrows. Maybe leave them and maybe pick another strategy. Do you know what I mean? So have a think about that when you're sparring. Now have a think about every round, making it really, really clear who won that round. Making it clear as day to anyone who was watching that I hit him 5 times clean, he hit me once. I win that round. Alright guys? Thanks a lot.